Okay. Hi. It's me again in my car because I live in a motel right now and there's no privacy. I mean, in the bathroom, but who wants to make a video in the bathroom? I mean, there's probably people out there. Sorry if you like to make videos in the bathroom. I am so sorry. I did not mean to judge. I guess it's just me. Not my thing right now. It could change. Who knows? I am here to share more of my brilliant wisdom. Okay, are you ready? So there's a few topics that I think might be helpful to folks nowadays. I think one is spiritual warfare. Okay, so being a person who is spiritual, whether or not it has, like a connection to a religion, an organized religion, there's this thing that seems to happen to believers, like people who believe in God, or maybe it's just how we rationalize it, like how we mentally process it to find a way to have like acceptance for things when things just don't make sense. And so I like to, when I'm thinking of things, I have two hands, right? So in one hand I will keep the typical, modern cultural beliefs system, which says there's no spiritual warfare, that, weird things can happen, weird things can be a coincidence, and people are just jerks. And then the other hand, I hold the spiritual reasoning, which is especially when people who have been in the dark, involved in like the dark side of things, and just like nighttime dark, people who have associated, dwelled in that, this thing happens when you choose to change. And so the modern, I guess, what do you call it? Some people call it 3D, right? The third dimension where we're at. The 3D explanation would be there's some psychological reason that you're paying attention, you're noticing things that have to do with addiction because you have things like post-acute withdrawal syndrome, PAWS, PAWS. What else? Just, that the brain is tricky. The brain is tricky, and especially when we are looking for evidence of something, you'll find it. And this is a very logical 3D explanation, and it could very well be true. Okay, but I also like to hold on to the other one. Like, I have two hands, I can hold both. The other one is that the forces that dwell in the night, who recruited us and were with us or had us do things that people do in the dark of night, that when you change and decide to start doing good, let's say somebody it has, so for me, when I was in my active addiction, I was operating in the dark. I fully believed and still believe in karma. Okay. And I believed in God. I wasn't sure about Jesus. And when I got clean, I was in jail. So there were things that annoyed me. There was this one chick, and she drove me crazy. She stole my pencils. She wouldn't wait until day room to go number 2, and I'd be like, I'm pregnant. Like, can you just wait like 1 more hour? Or like at least courtesy flash or something. And I'm not even kidding you. I had the bottom bunk because I was pregnant, and I wouldn't want to look at her, but I knew she's just staring at me. So I just like, make it stop. And that's just weird, like it's weird. I ended up in a cell with somebody who was there for pedophilia, memorabilia. No, she was a pedophile. And I ended up in her cell, being her cellmate, after I threw a fit about her wanting salt. I was a different person, okay? And so that wasn't too bad. But then, like fast forward as I'm going through, finding recovery and stuff, the closer I got to God, like the more bullshit I had to deal with. Like I had to deal with just drama, like cattiness, catty bitches, like when I'm part of the dark side, I don't know, like I guess girls are still catty. I'm fighting back though. I'm fighting fire with fire. But when I was in, like, operating in the dark, okay? And like the closer I got to God, the more people hated on me, I had girls, like, go out of their way. It's really what it seemed like to me. What it felt like to me was that people would go out of their way to teach me a lesson. They thought I was a goody two-shoes, or that I thought I was better than them, or anything like that. And like that could be looked at, like a few different ways. The third dimension is just that, haters hate. And but the spiritual warfare part leads me and others to believe that maybe if people who are still operating in the dark, they are more apt to be persuaded to do things for the dark. And whether it be humans with like subliminal messaging, okay, it's a thing, or it be spiritual and like an idea is put in their head for them, like whatever it is, like the spiritual side of me believes that that we are radio receivers, and that we have to be careful. And people who are still operating in the dark, that are not closing the radio signal or changing the channel or what have you. And so having to deal with people who have weird intentions as part of that, as part of being, like part of Celebrate Recovery. I have had really weird, bizarre situations come up, things that people say like remind me of my past, or people look like people from my past and stuff like that. And like the third dimension part of me wants to say, oh my gosh, like somebody's messing with me, that must be a person or people that are messing with me, right? But then the spiritual side of me says, like, is this the dark forces wanting me back? Like, is the dark force going to try to push me to the breaking point, right? And so like when I know, like in Christianity, there's a part, and I learned about it, that if someone is a believer and then they, like shun however you call it, like they shun religion, or like the deity that I imagine it's got to be for other ones, but for Christianity it's like you shun Jesus. And before you are a believer, there could be one dark spirit inhabiting you. And then after you go out and you come back, it brings 7 more with it. And so, you know, I don't think that's too far off. Sometimes it really feels like recently, like I took a sabbatical. I believe that God had me take a break from Celebrate Recovery and everything like that. I had more growth to do. And I think God knows that I'll survive. And so, and I've been a soldier for a long time. And like, even when I was operating in the dark, I still would have that urge and pull to do good things. And so I was kind of like on both teams, you know, like I would be operating and doing things that were not okay, you know, immoral, antisocial or whatever. And so, oh, I just lost it. I did really good. I don't even like use cannabis. That's crazy. Oh man, is this like whole thing gonna be ruined now? The whole video? Is that how this works? I mean, I have been messing with my shirt and twisting it, so like that's kind of dumb. And yeah, I guess I was talking about spiritual warfare, right? Oh yeah, you have one, you know, like you cast it out. That's what it is. You have one, you cast it out when you're a believer. And if you disbelieve, then that one will come back with 7 more. So that's a belief that's out there. I think the parts that kind of make it feel true is maybe because like the 3D rationalization could be that the trauma becomes greater, right? Like we usually go to religion because of trauma, and then we step away because of other trauma. And that's like, that was my experience, is like I needed to go because I had experienced something really traumatic, and I wasn't able to go back to the recovery community that I had been in for 5 years, because it no longer felt safe. And so someone swooped me up and took me to Celebrate Recovery, and so that was, you know, that was a godsend. And so that trauma took me there, right? And then it was, you know, like, yeah, it was trauma, you know, in a sense. It is trauma when we already have PTSD, and then people start acting weird. And, you know, like, I don't know if that was part of spiritual warfare or what, but it was that, you know, like I was trying my hardest to be good and do good. And the people that I was like trying to be good for, I mean, not like I needed to impress them, but like trying to provide service, you know, like service work and stuff like that, like started treating me different. Like I did something wrong, and it was really, really damaging to me. And I was already struggling because of work, and so I retreated, you know. I stepped away from CR. I told them I just can't right now, you know. I just couldn't. And so I just couldn't face more hurt and more, you know, of the why is this happening, the confusing hurt, which, you know, I think that if it is spiritual warfare, like it figures out what bugs us the most, and then that will be the go-to. And so like we can perceive it, we can process it in a couple different ways, you know. Like we can look at it as, you know, like, needing to never ever say anything about what is your pet peeves or whatever. That was like my ex-husband. Like, I would say something about how I told somebody like that's not okay, and he would say like, you can't do that, you're gonna tell them, they're gonna know what to use against you. And I was like, I don't care, like, I'm not gonna live my life like that. Like, I'm living like openly. And so the other way is to shout it from the rooftops, shout it from the mountaintops, like, this is what bothers me. And then you get tested, and that leads to growth. And so if it is like 3D and people are messing with you, guess what? They just handed you a dumbbell. They just handed you some workout weights, and you get to turn it into an exercise, you know, like a self-improvement exercise. When I'm faced with things that are like that, like I'm somewhere and somebody starts talking about something that is like really familiar to me, I currently still have two, you know? There's that part of me that's like, somebody fucking with me? What? Somebody? Who's fucking with me? But then there's that other part that's like, this very well could be spiritual warfare. Like, and these people could have absolutely no idea that they are saying something that really bothers me, because it could be something, I mean, because if all time is like, there is no like linear timeline except for in the 3D, then it's possible that, you know, like a deity could see what's about to happen and go and put ideas in someone's head, you know, like, so that later in the day, when they see someone in a blue shirt, it will remind them of something that would be personal to you. So, like, I don't know, I can't think of anything in particular right now, but, like, okay, there was this one day, like, since I've been here at the motel, and it comes to mind because it was the first time I went to the laundromat, and I went to like a coin operated, you know, one that was it was from a neighborhood I had lived in previously. And that same day before I went to the laundromat, there was a homeless guy that was out here, and he met like the next door neighbor, like the person that's in the motel right next to me. And when I first saw him, I was like, he looked like Flea, right? So he looked a lot like Flea, you know, like Flea in the 2000s probably, because Flea's like older now. So this person is not that old. And so, you know, like, he was like, hey, I'm gonna go, like, I can't remember. I think he just said that he met a friend. He met a new friend, and it's my neighbor. And so, and that neighbor came out and was like, on the top banister, and like hollered down to this guy. And you know, like, cool, whatever. I don't really care. Honestly, I really don't care. If somebody famous came walking by, I'd be like, you know, like, I wouldn't even really want to acknowledge them, to be honest with you. If I don't acknowledge every single person that comes through. I might smile, I might do that. I would just treat him like a normal person. And so, I didn't even think anything of it. Whatever. Well, I go to the laundromat, and there's a guy, and he's wearing a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt. And I was like, whoa, that's crazy. What a trip, you know? That guy looked like Flea, and this guy's got a Red Hot Chili Pepper shirt on, you know? And so, you know, I chuckled to myself, because I'm like, oh, this spiritual warfare kind of stuff, you know? Like, you should know that I don't care about celebrities. Like, you're not, my nose itches now. Is that, people say that's confirmation. Like, you should know that I don't give a fuck, you know? Like, even if it is, who cares, dude? I really don't care. And so when I came home, this is the part that was like, what the fuck? Fucking psychology. I come home, and the dude, I think that's when the dude said, I'm gonna go up and use a shower. He was like grabbing some stuff and came out. It was like dark outside and I couldn't really see the face, but voice sounded just like him. I'm getting like my throat, it's all tickly now. But I was like, man, that's fucking weird, dude. That is fucking weird. What a trip. Like, my fucking brain is doing, you know, playing tricks on me. Because that's like kind of a, you know, like a distinct voice, if you ask me. Like, if you had, you know, like, if you had your eyes closed and you heard that voice, you might be like, oh, that sounds like Flea. So that was weird. And so, like, the two options would be that people were fucking with me and maybe got a voice thing. I don't know, dude. That is definitely stretching it. But, or it's just like that spiritual warfare, you know, like planting seeds so that, you know, like they will sprout to make my mind think a certain thing. And that's how, like, subliminal messaging works. You know, I know that I fall for it sometimes. But for the most part, I think I notice things when I'm like, that, you know, like that thought just, it came from that other thing, and that's not necessarily mean that it's true or, you know, like reality or whatever. So, yeah, I just thought that was, something like the spiritual warfare thing is something that happens to believers, and probably happens to non-believers. I don't know how that works. I mean, I guess I was in the middle of a spiritual war, and I was, you know, I felt like I was a soldier, you know, I was a foot soldier. So yeah, so now I don't think I'm a foot soldier anymore. I mean, I don't know what the ranks are though, so whatever. I don't even know why I'm bringing it up. Like I'm a corporal, or I don't know, sergeant. I don't know what they are. Okay, so yeah, I've been like sitting in my car this whole time, and the people that clean their room, the housekeepers, are like looking at me. I'm like, sorry, I'm talking to myself. Maybe I'm on the phone. They don't know. Shoot, can they hear me? I don't know. Probably not. Possibly. I don't know if it really matters. I look like crap today, but whatever. I didn't really put much in my hair. I just took a shower and sorted clothes and dipped so I can wash stuff. And I just want a washer and dryer. I want a home with like my own washer and dryer so I can like do laundry when I need to, and so it doesn't smell like kind of like wet dog, and you can't rewash it. Like, radical acceptance. I got some body spray. I got some tools that I will use to make sure I don't smell like wet dog. Sometimes I smell like cat pee. I don't even have a dog, and I might smell like wet dog. So stay humble, friends. Stay humble.